Welcome back to the Mark Moses Show on the brand new Sports Radio 1560 The Fan. And joining me right now on the Club 52 hotline to talk all things NFL and especially the draft coming up this Thursday. His name is Alan Zlotorzynski, fanspeak.com. I know he does his own show, podcast. This dude goes to the moon. Alan, my man, how you doing today?
Oh, Mark, it's so great to be back on talking with you about football and sports. And, man, it just makes me yearn for the start of college football and the NFL season.
Come on, we got the draft. You got something. You got something going on this week.
Yeah, I know, Mark, but what's going to happen come Monday? Are we going to hit another brick wall like we did the day after the Super Bowl?
Okay, let's go over the draft then, all right, before I depress you anymore, telling you we're not even at Memorial Day yet. Number one pick, it's just Jameis Winston, right? Everyone's going with that.
It's only Jameis Winston. Look, Jameis Winston, you have to be impressed. I mean, ultimately, if you're not a Jameis Winston fan, and I'm not, Mark, but you have to be impressed with the approach that this kid has taken since his loss to Oregon in the playoff game to what he's done since then. His pro day, his approach, seeking out Jim Harbaugh up at Michigan to help fix his flaws. And I'm not talking about the part you saw on ESPN. I'm talking about the throwing of the football, helping out with his mechanics. Jameis Winston, don't mistake the cockiness and arrogance of Jameis Winston for cockiness and arrogance. It's a competitive nature that this kid has, and the Buccaneers will have their franchise quarterback.
Then at number two, what's going to happen? Is it Mariota? What team? I mean, what do you think is going to happen with that second pick?
Well, I think Phillip Rivers becomes the wild card here, doesn't he? Because he doesn't want to play in L.A., and the San Diego Chargers and the Oakland Raiders look like they're destined to be there. And I think, the Los Angeles effect we're going to see wholeheartely in this draft, especially with the number 2 pick overall. I would have to think, though, that if it's Tennessee or the Jets that trade up or the Browns that trade up, ultimately I think the number 2 pick in this draft is Marcus Mariota. I'm probably about 40-60, Mark, that it's going to be the Tennessee Titans that take him.
Do you really believe this hype about Phillip Rivers on the move? Because I don't. I can't give up the second pick for Phillip Rivers in picks. I think it's a terrible move, whoever's at number 2. What about you, man?
Well, I think it is a terrible move, and I agree with you. But here's the thing. If you're going to make a terrible move like that, the best time to make it is when you're going into an NFL-starved city, right? Because they can really care less who you have at quarterback. I mean, I remember when the Ravens moved from Cleveland to Baltimore, we had Vinny Testaverde, and we thought he was the greatest thing in the world since Johnny Unitas. But that was just because we had a football team, Mark. So if you're going to make a move like this, and you're going to acquire more draft picks, and you're going to move up the top of the draft board like that, and you're going to take a kid like Marcus Mariota, ultimately this is the time to do it.
We're at Alan Zlotorzynski, fanspeak.com, covers the NFL and NHL, all those good stuff. Always love getting you here on the Club 52 hotline. Do you really believe in the next year or so they're going to be the LA Chargers or maybe also the LA Rams? Do you really see that happening?
No, I don't. I see San Diego staying put, to be quite honest with you, which is why I ultimately believe in my heart that this number 2 pick overall is going to beat Chip Kelly somehow, some way. The lunatic. He's either going to be a lunatic or the greatest thing since Paul Brown by the time the season's 3 weeks old next year. No, I don't. I think ultimately there will be 2 teams in L.A., and I think it's going to be the Raiders and the Rams. And let's be honest, the Rams return to the place where they originated from. So I'm okay with that. And, the Oakland Raiders, I don't really care where they play, Mark.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Whoever they're playing already has a 17-point lead on them. That's what your joke is. Alan, let's go to the 3rd pick then, and it's Jacksonville. And look, they had the 3rd pick last year. They took Blake Bortles, the quarterback for the future. What about this year, especially after you got Winston Mariota going 1-2?
Well, the Jaguars are really in the catbird seat here, Mark, aren't they? You take a look. This is the reward for Gus Bradley for having drafted Allen Robinson and Marquise Lee and Blake Bortles, simply meaning that this is going to be the opportunity for Gus Bradley to go out and get that cornerstone defensive piece that he's been after for so long. And one would have to think that it's Leonard Williams, although there are some things starting to come up a little bit about some injury issues with Leonard Williams. And would you be at all surprised if they kept Dante Fowler in state? I wouldn't.
Do you like Fowler, though?
What's that?
Do you like Fowler as a pick at number 3, though?
You know, he's going to be a top 5, top 6 pick. Mark, it surprised me once the college football season ended because we got to watch Dante Fowler up close and personal, haven't we? And I don't know if it surprised you, but it certainly surprised the heck out of me how quickly Dante Fowler shot up draft boards. And I even asked my good friend Steven Schalp, the draft expert at fanspeak.com, how that occurred. And the reason is because Fowler, aside from the fact that he's a talented pass rusher, he can play all over the place. He can play an outside linebacker. He can put his hands in the dirt. He's an intriguing athlete. He has a ton of range, Mark. He's strong. He has flexibility. He isn't as explosive as you would like, but because you can do so many things with him, you can disguise him in so many different ways. He's perfect for a Gus Bradley type of an offense.
You look at last year's
defense.
Oh, no, you're fine. You look at last year's draft. A lot of wide receivers in the first round, including Kelvin Benjamin, Mike Evans for the Buccaneers. And I know there's a lot of names running around right now where you guys got Amari Cooper, Kevin White, Devontae Parker. Do you see all these guys getting drafted in the first round and succeeding in the NFL?
I don't know about the success part of this, Mark, because eventually what's going to happen is these kids coming out of college aren't going to be as successful as their predecessors, meaning, the ODBs, the Odell Beckham Jr.'s, the A.J. Greens. Eventually, a crop of wide receivers are going to graduate into the National Football League, and they're just not going to have the success that these guys have had over the last couple of years. But look, with 70, with all but 2 teams throwing the ball more than they ran it last year, and throwing the ball 70% of the time in each game, the need for these guys is becoming greater and greater. And when you have that need that's greater and greater, you also see people reaching further and further up for guys.
What about the running back position? Are we finally going to get some running backs in the first round?
Boy, I tell you, there'll be some teams that make some mistakes. Hello, Miami. If you sure don't grab one of these running backs, Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon, I'm here to tell you right now, Todd Gurley, healthy, is a 1 in a 3 or 4 or 5 year back coming out of Georgia. I love Melvin Gordon and his flexibility with offenses. I absolutely feel like that, yes, the drought ends. When you look at Todd Gurley, he's got a combination of size, power, balance. He can accelerate. And I think he warrants good comparisons to Seattle's Marshawn Lynch.
You know he's going to go to your Ravens, right? You know that's what's going to happen.
Oh, I'm telling you right now, the Ravens are going to end up with either Gurley or Melvin Gordon, and I'm going to be dancing around the house just like I was last year when them knuckleheads in Pittsburgh passed on C.J. Mosley.
Oh, man, you're so funny. It's so true. Because what happened to your latest running back? DUI? What happened?
Yeah, he got a DUI, and instead of just going through an entire offseason where, we were the punching bags again, they caught him the next day, and lo and behold, he ends up in Jacksonville.
There you go. You talked about the Dolphins there a second ago. I know they're taking, 14 overall with their pick. If you're the Dolphins, would you go offense or defense in this draft for round one?
This has got to be the best player available for the Miami Dolphins. But you know what? Here's the thing that killed me. I mean, they just signed Greg Jennings, right? And I think the signing of Greg Jennings cements the fact that the Dolphins do not have to draft a wide receiver in the first round here. And you can get good, solid production in the second and third round in this draft at the wide receiver position. You look at ProFootballFocus.com's ratings, Mark, of offensive lines in the National Football League last year, and the Miami Dolphins were the worst. They were 32nd at run blocking. They were 31st at pass blocking. And you know what? You take a look at this team, and quite honestly, I know they're starting to get it together a little bit up front on the offensive line. Albert Brandon, Thomas Dallas, Mike Pouncey, Billy, they need guard help. The problem is I would suggest my play here, Mark, would be to trade this pick back because I don't know that there's an offensive lineman worthy of a number 14 pick in this draft where the Dolphins are picking. So why don't you trade that pick back and maybe get you a couple of real good offensive linemen? Maybe get one at the end of the first round and one at the top of the second round.
Do you like that the draft is Thursday, Friday, Saturday? We've had this for a couple of years, but do you like it?
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I used to love the fact that you would get up on a Saturday morning, do a little bit of pre-gaming, you know what I mean, head down to your local favorite watering hole, get your draft guides out for us draft geeks that would keep track and take our mock drafts. Back in the day, we had it written down on notebook paper, knock a few back, and watch the first and second and third rounds on Saturday. It went well into the evening, and then come back the next day if you could get out of bed on time and watch at the end of the draft.
Watering hole, huh? Saturday mornings. Okay. All right, let's do this. Since your team is up next, we're going to do this. I'm going to put you on the spot here. Wins, losses for your Baltimore Ravens. Are you ready? I'm putting you on the spot. You ready for this?
Yeah.
You open the season at Denver, 425. Win or loss?
Loss.
Okay. Let's go. September 20th at Oakland, 405.
Win.
Okay. September 27th, Cincinnati at home, 1 o'clock.
Win.
Yeah, I agree with you. At Pittsburgh, October 1st. It's on, I believe, Sunday Night Football.
I think it's Thursday, actually. It's a short week. On the road, loss.
Okay. Cleveland at home, October 11th.
Win.
Yeah, good God. You and me could win that game. All right? Stop it. At San Francisco, 425.
You said San Francisco, loss.
Okay. At Arizona, Monday Night Football.
Loss.
Uh-oh. San Diego at home, November 1st.
That'll be a win.
Okay. You're at the bye. Jacksonville at home.
That's a win.
Okay. St. Louis, home.
That'll be a win. That'll be a tough game, but that'll be a win.
At Cleveland, November 30th, ESPN.
I'll give it a win.
At Miami, 1 o'clock. You'll probably be going to this game. Miami, December 6th. At Miami, 1 o'clock.
That's a loss.
All right. Oh, here we go. Here we go, man. Here we go. December 13th, Seattle at home, Sunday Night Football.
That's a loss.
Oh, here we go. Kansas City at home.
That'll be a win.
Okay. Pittsburgh, home game, December 27th, Sunday Night Football.
That'll be a win.
At Cincinnati.
I'll go with the split. That'll be a loss.
9-7.
Yeah.
Are you good with that?
No. But
I don't blame you.
but I mean, look, you can't. Year after year, we say this. You can't keep allowing prospects to get away and talent to get away like the Ravens have, and think that every year you're going to find their replacements in the draft. I hope they do. Maybe they can find another win in the draft because I think 10-6 will be enough. 9-7 is all I can project for them.
You know what I need to do? I need to get you on later this week, and we got to talk some hockey. All right?
Oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah. Don't worry. I'm eating Minnesota Wild next for dinner. I can't wait. So, yeah, that's right. So,
look,
what?
Look, I just want to say this: my Capitals. I don't give them much of a chance tonight. They're 3-9 all time in Game 7s. And of those 12 Game 7s, do you realize that the Capitals have blown a series lead in 9 of those series?
It's unbelievable. You can't. Are you like me where you're just physically exhausted from watching all these hockey games till midnight every night?
Yeah, I am in the morning. Matter of fact, I was making my sales calls on my day job today, nodding off. Well,
going
back and forth. Hey, but I did happen to check the side of my milk carton this morning, and lo and behold, there was Steven Stamkos on it.
Oh, you got to go the low blow. Oh, man, that's funny. Hey, man, I will see you around, and, yeah, hopefully I can get you on again. All right, man?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Mark.